Do you think there's like a hierarchy amongst the toad race, Jake? The toadstool race?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that goes? I mean, you
Oh,
being
well,
there.
no. I mean, they're all under Peach,
True.
right?
But like, is there like a capo situation there? Like,
Well, some have like, there's named toads, so I would say those are higher than like,
Toadsworth,
yeah. There's
Toadette.
Toadsworth, there's Toadette, there's Captain Toad,
Yes. Chef
there's,
Toad, as you just showed us.
yeah, I've got Chef Toad here, but he's not. He's new. He's not in the games. He's just
Let him cook.
Yeah.
Let him cook.
Let
Are
him
there
cook.
other named ones? I'm not sure, but um, yeah, I just think this guy's so cute, so we got him.
Big fan of Toad. Missimo Pena's favorite Mario character is
I'm
Toad.
more of a Yoshi man, but I like Toad.
You and I both, Jake.
I'll tell you what. At Super Nintendo World, completely disrespectful to Yoshi. He is nowhere in that fucking place.
Then I will boycott it. I will not be there.
He's up. They sell barely any Yoshi merchandise. And the only appearance of Yoshi in the whole park is he's running circles up in the fucking mountains. He's up high. You can barely see him.
That's very disrespectful. Maybe if they extend it down the line, you know what I
You
mean?
can't
Maybe-
even meet him. You can't even fucking meet him.
That's tough.
What's the noise Yoshi makes? Is it like
Like he kind of
No, okay.
does like a.
No?
Well, that's when he dies.
Okay, that
And when he's mad, he goes.
Yeah.
And he kind of like.
Or when he, that's when he's,
Brand
that's when he's
muffin.
fluttering too. When he does his flutter jump, it's like.
Yeah. His power kick in Super Strikers.
I'll
he
tell you
does
what.
that kind
I'll
of-
tell you another thing. The big marquee ride there, the Mario Kart ride. Garbage.
Really?
Oh.
That's disappointing.
Hated it.
Really?
Yeah.
That I was not expecting that.
I fucking hated it. But I'm hoping in Florida when they open it, they'll also have the Donkey Kong coaster, and that looks cool.
Okay. Donkey Kong. Yeah, Walt Disney World is officially on the clock now because if they're gonna open
Yeah.
up that third gate there at Universal with the shit that they're charging at the mouse that used to be free, the mouse might be in for a rude awakening. Liam, your thoughts?
I'd have to agree. You know I'm a big theme park guy. You know?
That's Lyle Overbay, aka Liam. We're also joined by, you never know.
You never know.
You never know. AKA Jake. I am Robbie Ross, Lawnmower, AKA Fitz, and this is Pod on Lands Down. Thank you again for joining us for an edition of the program. As spring training games are officially underway, and you know what else is underway, because it began last week, our American League East preview, we're joined by our friend Spencer, who is making history here on Pod on Lansdowne, our first correspondent north of the border. Our first
Yeah.
Blue Jays correspondent. We keep saying, oh, we're going to do a
Do
full...
you believe it?
Yeah, a third year of doing these American League East previews here on the show. And we actually, for the first time, have a person on to talk about the Blue Jays. Which, as you are probably aware at this point if you're listening, the Blue Jays are part of the American League East. So it would be incomplete to not have a Toronto preview in there. That's going to be the lion's share of this episode. That'll be later on. We'll talk to Spencer, who's a riot on Twitter. You know, good mutual friend of ours, and we were able to talk with him and talk about Big Beefy Baseball Boys. It was a great time. How the Rogers Corporation is evil, things like that, things of that nature. But
A lot of nepotism north of the border. I had no
a
idea.
lot of nepo babies, and again,
Yeah.
we'll
You
get
thought
into
America was bad.
that. Yeah, no
No.
kidding. Yeah,
No.
the statue stuff goes crazy, but again, that's later on in the episode. Gentlemen, the Boston Red Sox have already reported for pitchers and catchers. Games are underway here, and of course, after Northeastern jumped out to a 1-0 lead the other day, we had to fire off the Thank You Red Sox Nation picture, even though the Red Sox actually came back and won that game. But games are underway here. There are some things on the wall in the rest of Major League Baseball, like a couple of games into spring training that you'd be kind of like, ooh, this is an interesting situation. Like in San Diego, Jackson Merrill looks like he's being primed potentially for an outfield spot. Their top shortstop prospect. They really want to get him into the lineup, even though he's only been at Double-A. There's some interesting storylines like that. There hasn't been a ton recently with the Red Sox, but I still wanted to pick your brains.
But you never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
That's true. You never know. I
just
did want
wanna
to
make
pick
that
your
clear.
brains what are the one or two like battles potentially, storylines in spring training that you, Jake or Liam, you are following this spring? Because with a couple weeks to go, we're going to start to see a little bit more clearer picture of how this roster is going to shape up to at least start the season. Jake, anything come to mind looking at them?
Like, the last rotation spot, I think, is that.
I mean,
I think
that's probably the biggest one.
It's really all we got, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what else there really is. I'm racking my brain. Right?
Houck versus Whitlock.
The bottom end of the bullpen. That's always fluid, but that's not really unique to the Red Sox. Maybe like fourth bench spot. I guess that's a battle. See if Bobby can make the squad again. He's hitting. Death Taxes and Bobby Dahlbeck hitting in spring training.
Spring Bobby.
But yeah, I guess just Houck and Whitlock, I think. Right, Liam? Is that?
No, I mean, only other one that came to mind immediately was Seti in center field.
Yeah, I was going to say the outfield.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like that's a huge one. Yeah.
Fuck,
so,
idiot.
Because, I mean, based on what Cora's saying, he's like, yeah, like, the defense is great. Like, as long as he hits, he's the center fielder, essentially, were some of his comments, like, over the weekend as games were starting.
He just needs to tread water offensively. Like, just be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like I'm trying to think of a comp. It's like
Jackie Bradley Jr.
I was like, it was escaping me. I was like,
the
I know
most obvious comp in the world.
He's right in front of me.
Yeah.
It's just it feels like not like JBJ all over again, but it's the same sort of narrative where we just need him to hit his weight, and
and they have
defense is Gold Glove caliber.
Yeah, they have different.
I'd like him to hit a little more than his. He's a pretty skinny guy. I don't know. He's way too.
Well, that's also like
he's not a big beefy baseball boy.
No, that's like Mendoza line. I don't know.
And I feel like that's kind of my issue. Like, I after what we saw this past year, I still think he needs more time in AAA.
Yeah, I agree.
Which the core comments kind of surprised me because the bat didn't look ready whatsoever in the cup of coffee he got in September.
It's a free swinger.
Buddy, he sure is.
But the thing, Keith Law mentioned this on The Athletic. Yeah, he's a free swinger, but even if he chases out of the zone a bit, like at least in the minors, Rafaela still gets a fair amount of contact for someone who's as I don't want to say reckless with the bat, but is liberal with the bat. Big shit lib with the bat. Vote blue no matter what with the bat. That's how free swinging he is. But yeah, I don't have the exact quote in front of me from that Athletic article, but I was reading it earlier today and kind of noted, like, even if he does kind of swing out of his ass a bit, swing freely, he still makes a fair amount of contact. Now, granted, there's a huge jump, obviously, between the minor league pitching and having to adjust to major league pitching down the line. Maybe pitchers start to figure him out more, and those offensive floors start to kind of drop out from under him a bit, where maybe he does need the extra seasoning. But it's just something to consider. Something interesting I saw earlier today on the matter.
But I think, so what, I guess, if we're talking outfield, what to you guys, opening day lineup, what's your ideal outfield?
So I think I'll answer.
Yeah, take it away.
I would say Duran in left.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Well, is Rafaela making the team in this scenario, or no? Or am I deciding that?
It's your
scenario.
You
tell me.
You are Jake Breslow.
All right. Yeah, fuck it. He'll make the team. Fuck it. I don't know. We need something to be excited about. Duran in left, Rafaela in center.
Yoshida DHing in this situation.
Yoshida DH, and then there's a platoon in my mind in right, at least to start the year, pretty straight, lefty-righty. Abreu
O'Neill and Abreu.
O'Neill, yeah.
I think you nailed it. That's exactly what I would do as well. I mean, everything about, we really shouldn't undersell this with Rafaela. There are many publications, many people who believe, he's not just one of the best fielding prospects in all of baseball. They just think he's one of the best fielding players in the entire game, period, full stop, End of discussion. That's
Yeah.
how much of a whiz he is defensively.
We saw what he was doing in shortstop at like AA. Like the kid can play all over. So
It's outstanding, and it's tougher to see that value defensively than it is with the stick. I mean, we've mentioned it before in the show. Even like defensive metrics don't even totally like tend to agree with each other. It's hard to quantify how good a player is defensively as opposed to offensive metrics and whatnot. We kind of have that figured out at this point, but the value, man, he can give you in center field. If he can just, I'm not even saying like a 750 OPS. Even if like he's out there giving me like a 85 OPS plus, 90 OPS plus, even like a little below average with how good he's playing defensively, I would take that.
Here's my caveat though: is the rest of the team going to hit well enough?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like the JBJ years, we had
the offense was
David Ortiz, we had Mookie Betts, we had JD Martinez.
I think they can hit well enough.
Right.
You never know.
You never know, Fitz. Fitz, you never
know.
No, that is absolutely true.
Listen,
Fitz, I was thinking the same thing, that you never know.
Listen, you get Yoshida off of his feet at a left, where he gets another year to be acclimated to pitching, be able to set the table for you. Devers, I'm not worried about. Casas looks primed to take a step forward. Mm-hmm. Grisham is a bit of an X factor. We'll see what happens with that, but he can be steady enough.
I consistently forget he's on this team. Like
Stories,
almost every day I'll read his name and be like, oh fuck, right, that
Story's
happened.
Entering the year healthy, and he hasn't looked so great in spring training just yet, but it's a small sample size. He's finally having a normal offseason leading up to opening day. O'Neill, if he can just be all right from the right side, to platoon with Abreu, who has high upside. Connor Wong is a catcher. He's a player. He plays for the team.
He's one of the catchers of all time.
They talk about Abreu like he's like he's gonna have an 800.
I'm all in on that bat.
Yeah,
I really am. I'm so in on that. I like fucking Tom Werner of all people. Yeah, I'd love to see him get 400, 500 at bats. Me too, Tom. That's something we can agree on.
What the fuck does he know? I mean,
that's his
someone from the
ideal
front
full
office
throttle.
was telling him that would be 6 or 7 wins with better defense last year.
There are your 6 or 7 wins just from Rafaela, right? But no, if that's the lineup there, and again, we saw stretches of this team, even with Story hurt, even with some people kind of in and out of the lineup, even with Kike Hernandez being a part of the lineup. You had stretches where this offense last year was anything but a problem. They had some great stretches there, like a month or two at a time, where they could hang with anyone on offense. It was really just a matter of the pitching, specifically the starting pitching, that was the biggest glaring issue with the team. And again, we don't have to relitigate everything there, but I think if Rafaela is 8 or 9, I think the rest of the offense could pick him up.
If Rafaela makes the team, do they just tell Ref Snyder to fucking hit the bricks? What's the deal there?
He's getting paid no matter what, man. It's just as long as the check doesn't bounce for him.
Oh, I'm just thinking like roster construction.
I know. I mean,
yeah, right. I think they'd have to. No, maybe not.
No, because you another potential spot. You get another guy there to swap out sometimes with Duran if needed. Like
what are you gonna have? 5.5 outfielders?
I can't see
6
them carrying
outfielders?
5 out. Even Pablo can play some left, so I'm like,
true.
I think
Bobby,
he's making.
Yeah, and
team.
Bobby. If we're talking Bob, he can play all the corners. So that's more than. I mean, I know Ref is a good glove.
Again, we're also assuming that
Ref
Bob's
Snyder
fucking
sucked the second half of last year.
Oh, dude, they were so awful to watch.
Yeah. I think you might need to. You might need to get rid of him just to take it out.
Lefties, though, man. You know what I mean?
No, but that was the thing. He fucking sucked against lefties too the whole second half. I think you might need to get rid of him. Just take him out of Cora's hands, because Cora would see a lefty come into the game and he'd start. The Kill Bill sirens would start going off. He'd go, "But Rob, you're in, Rob!" Like it was instantaneous.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Let's
play hypotheticals. Let's play hypotheticals. I'm in a mood. So say my outfield, the one I said is what happens. Those 4 guys. You go Duran, Rafaela, O'Neill, Abreu, okay? Say they all play well. We're cooking, it's great. Never mind, actually. I think I'm getting ahead of myself.
You can't Jake, you
Well, I
can't.
was gonna say Roman Anthony. Where do we think all these guys are young? Roman Anthony, where does he go? I don't know. Roman Anthony, 2 walks. He's got the eye. He's got a major league eye, folks. That's what That's all
You got
I'm
a
saying.
stroke for a hot second. I was like, okay, that's.
Yeah. Well, I thought, this might be a ridiculous thing to talk
Jake
about. Right
Biden
now, but I love
having
doing
his
stuff like that.
moment.
Whoa, Fitz.
Jake Wallinger is incompetent. He is unfit to be on the podcast.
Can Roman Anthony play defense? Do we know that?
I think he's fine defensively. I don't, certainly
Let's
haven't heard any,
let's see what our
rave
friends at
reviews.
Sox Prospects have to say.
Well, you know what they say. The best defense is a good offense. As long as he's stroking that thing.
He'll be in
Red
the
Sox
lineup.
believe he can stick in center long term, but others believe he ends up in a corner.
No, but I mean, if Rafaela is as good as advertised
Yeah, right, you're not
defensively,
gonna
he
let
does
him-
okay. Yeah, no, he has to patrol.
Well,
the- and then-
right field at Fenway though, tough.
I
It ain't
think
easy.
I get your point there, Jake. I still think for the most part you would put your best defender there in center with the range that Rafaela
Yeah.
could have. So
I want Roman Anthony up by
Memorial Day,
Memorial Day. Yeah,
I don't think that's going to happen.
Patriots Day.
no Patriots. No, I don't. I think he's
When they
going
go
to debut
2 and
this
8
year.
on the West Coast.
I think
and they
I
come
actually do
back.
think he's going to debut this year.
Think
The way
so?
everyone talks about him is like he's Christ. Like he's not even 20. He's not even 20. He's not even 20.
Going back to what Keith Law was saying, he was practically like, he had to light a cigarette. It seemed like after watching Roman Anthony swing. The way
Dude,
he
yeah,
was writing about it.
like I'm high on Meyer and Teal. I think both of them are going to be good for us. I like to think I put a lot of stock in that for my
Hey,
mental
you never
health.
know.
You never know. But Roman Anthony, the way every single prospect evaluator talks about this kid is like he's fucking like I can't remember the last time a Red Sox prospect like Mookie is like the last time a Sox prospect was talked about like Roman Anthony. Like they're like this kid like he's right? Can you guys think of another?
That Mookie's the first one that comes to mind where it's like
He's Jesus down in Portland. They're doing things.
all of a sudden he's knocking on the door. I remember like Mookie. I feel like Mookie came out of nowhere because we were so focused on Bogarts. Even like Devers was in the system at that point. I think.
We're excited for Swihart too.
We were excited for Swire. We were excited for like.
Ah!
Was it Gavin or Garen Cicchini? I can't remember which was which.
Garen.
Garen was ours.
Garen was ours, and I remember like Garen was blowing up Double A the same summer Mookie was like coming out of nowhere, and I was like, I don't know, like I think I like Garen better. And then Mookie, of course, like debuted by mid July.
Garen Cicchini's lasting legacy is Derek Jeter's last hit was like a chopper to him. That's like his only. I was there. I remember. I was like, oh. And now,
I was at the Darren Cicchini game.
Yeah. Yeah, he fizzled. But yeah, Roman Anthony, it's hard not to be completely
Excited.
enamored with everything. Like I think we may have something there.
Yeah, and listen.
Oh my God,
we've-
was it ball 4 in either his first or second at bat the other day? Was like an insane take on a curveball, literally right at his knees.
just spit,
And I was like,
spit
how-
at it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, how are you taking that in, like the first game of spring training and like one of your first at bats with the big league team? It was like, I don't know. It's one of those moments where you're like, how does he just like have that composure?
If a prospect has a great eye, that's like my main indicator. Like, oh, he's got it. Like,
He's him. He's him.
You
Have
can-
that.
yeah, you can almost,
It's like
set your
it's like
watch to at
Casas.
least, yeah. I'm
God,
trying to
I
think. like,
love a good plate approach.
Yeah, and it was that's why you were never nervous about Casas last year, even if he came out to a slow start. It's like, look, he's still drawing walks, he's still having good takes.
his OBP was still like 300. Even
yeah, he was
Yeah.
hitting like 120, and he was still getting on a great enough of a clip. And then from like May 1st onward, or whatever date it was, you can pick whatever the fuck it is. He ends up mashing the ball and looks like he's primed for another great year and great career going forward. And that could be the same thing with Roman. And listen, we've done this song and dance before as Red Sox fans, where it's like, oh, we're really excited for this prospect, and can't blame him. A fan for getting excited, but
Frankly,
the Red-
since the start of this podcast, we've been correct every time.
Right, the
we've done
Red
this.
Sox hype machine, historically speaking, sometimes inflates it a little bit, but this is not, I don't think, a matter in regards to Anthony, where this is just Red Sox fans hyping up their own sort of goods. It does seem like it's a consensus, like, oh no, this kid can fucking rake going forward. So that's a nice little development to have. That makes me happy.
Sure is.
Rome is red.
Yeah, and I mean, that's like the sickest fucking name ever, too. If
Roman
he pans
Anthony.
out, I mean, that is a
Print the
90
shirts.
grade name.
Yeah, I mean, there's 5,000 different directions you can go in that regard. So that might have to be the first PLL shirts. We're gonna take I stuttered all over myself there. Jeez, we are going to take.
I'm Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, listen here, Jack. We're gonna take a break here. Yeah.
Corn Pops coming up. after
Corn
this.
pop. Yeah.
Corn Pop on now. Coming up
Corn
next.
Pop live on the
Pod.
pod. Yeah, right. So when we return, we have our full interview with Spencer, our Blue Jays correspondent, to continue our AL East preview. We'll be back to talk some more Sox after that. But first, ad time.
Do we like talk about Monty? I don't like. There's not really. I mean, we could talk about it for a sec, but I don't really know what to say.
Back half of the show, like literally just like only like 10 more minutes because it was already 50 minutes on that.
Yeah.
So, all right. We're back. Pod on Lansdowne here. Jake Fitz and Liam at your service. Again, thank you to Spencer for giving us some insight north of the border about the Blue Jays. False start on the Jordan Montgomery sweepstakes, it seemed like, to begin this week, gentlemen. We're recording Monday night for a Wednesday release. The saga, the cosmic ballet goes on, to quote The Simpsons there, Jake, on Jordan Montgomery. Can anyone want to switch seats? But Jordan Montgomery's still unsigned, even though it seemed like for a hot second, maybe something was going to happen. They had a Zoom call with Jordan Montgomery. But it was like 2 weeks ago.
You never know.
You never know. It's getting kind of exhausting at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to blame a guy for trying to get the most money that he possibly can, but like we're planning like St. Patrick's Day parties right now, man. Like it's almost time to play. Just sign with the Orioles and just put me out of my misery. It's SpongeBob crying, saying, "Just get out of here, you stupid dumb animal." Like my heart can't take much more of this, right, Liam?
I do feel like, at least over the weekend, like we saw Bellinger sign, and everyone's like, "Oh, like that feels like a Boris fumble."
Yes.
So, and I just think at this point, whoever signs Montgomery, they're obviously getting a good pitcher. Obviously, I would still prefer it to be us, quite frankly.
Astute observation there, Liam.
That's why you come here to Pod on Lansdowne, for that hard-hitting analysis.
But I don't think I think there's something to be said for being in camp at this point already. We've seen guys hold out before, and then they get off to slow starts. So, like, say we end up with Montgomery, I don't think you necessarily see him until mid-April, end of April, maybe even early May.
You have to build a rapport with the catchers and whatnot.
Right, there's that, and I know obviously he's been training all off season, but I still think there's something to be said for like being at a complex with
seeing game action,
Right, like seeing live batters.
He's a position player versus a pitcher, but Trevor Story 2 years ago was a fucking catastrophe coming out of the gate,
right?
Because he didn't have a spring training. He had like a week and a half or some shit of spring training.
And that's kind of like my worry. I mean, sure, like say we sign him and we tread water in April, like I'll feel fine if he's joining the fold, right around May 1st. But I don't think like for any team he signs with, they're getting the best version of Jordan Montgomery until close to Memorial Day.
Yeah, but like 5 starts in, you would think.
But yeah,
guys, what are we doing? we're ironing out the Jordan Montgomery signing that has not occurred.
It will not occur for the Red Sox, probably.
Yeah, we're like, gosh, is he gonna be right come May? I don't know. Like, what the fuck?
What if the Red Sox are in first by then? Imagine adding Montgomery to that. Wow.
We won 20 games in April.
Yeah.
Eat your heart out, Rays. Your 13 wins in a row to start the year, huh? How's 26? And you're adding Gumby. You mentioned Boris, by the way, and I just a quick side note to that. Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecues said that the whole Bellinger situation is kind of weird because it's a different version of Cody Bellinger that we just saw in 23. So teams are still kind of iffy on how to evaluate him. So that's kind of why the deal he got. He said, like, if Blake Snell, who's coming off a Cy Young Award year, if he gets a kind of underwhelming contract, it might be curtains for Mr. Boris.
When you find out your goat is washed.
From this point on, things will never be the same.
I don't know. I mean, I think he overplayed his hand with these guys. But they all, like, Montgomery's the only one, really, I think that is so, he so obviously overplayed his hand. Because it's like, who doesn't, I mean, evidently everybody, but who doesn't want, like, just a workhorse kind of, like, he's not an ace. He's like a good 3, a really good,
half of the rotation.
or a really good 2, what am I saying? A really good 3, a solid 2, like a top half guy, just reliable. Like, he's just kind of the epitome of, like, a reliable starter, and it's almost
steady
March.
Eddie.
Yeah.
It's because, again, I've mentioned this before, and I'll say it again. Bayo was the only guy north of 150 innings last year for the Red Sox. You look at Montgomery's workload the last 3 seasons, 188 and 2/3 last year, 178 and 22, 157 and a third in 2021. Over 30 starts.
Yeah.
Still making 30 starts.
I need that. We need that.
How much that would help the rotation.
I remember I was thinking about this before we hopped on tonight. And I remember this must have been November or early December, sometime between the midst of the holiday season. And I jokingly said, like, hey, if we get to, like, the eve of Truck Day and, like, Blake Snell's still out there, throw something at him.
No,
but
Liam.
No. That's not the point I'm making.
Okay.
The point is,
it's like Braveheart. Hold. Don't give it to him. Hold.
The point is just that it's actually absurd that the reigning Cy Young winner doesn't have a team. Like, what other sport is this happening in? Can you imagine, like, the defensive player of the year in the NFL, like, holding out until, like, the second preseason game to sign with a team? Like, it's part of a larger conversation, and I understand the concerns with Snell because he's only gone 180 innings twice, and it's the 2 years he's won the Cy Young. But where else does this happen? There's something fundamentally broken with the sports offseason. The game is gone.
Yeah. What happened to the game I love? The only, like NFL, you see it, like, every so often, you know what I mean? But it's, like, with one guy. Like, the Le'Veon Bell situation, like, he sat out, like, the entire year, his contract thing. Okay, that happened the one time. I remember, like, in the late 2000s, guys like, I don't know if it was Ocho Cinco. Well, Terrell Owens had a whole thing with the I remember that. But these things happen every so often. Like, Chris Jones with the Chiefs. He was out for the first game while they worked on.
Well, he was holding out. That's not even the same thing.
Yeah, I'm like these guys aren't, like, vocally.
No, but he was on the roster. Like, that's not even the same. You know. That's
these are right. It's. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of the closest possible thing.
Close,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, as the resident Blake Snell hater, I do feel a little vindicated on that front. Like,
nobody wants to touch him.
Nobody wants the fucking guy. But Bellinger, I also understand, like Fitz, you were saying, he's such a unique case, like an MVP, and then he's like sub replacement level, and then he's good again. Like, you really don't know.
He's good for different reasons. Like, he was way more selective.
Completely confusing what he is.
Trading a little bit of his power for the contact aspect, showing off his defensive skills. It was way different profile than what he was doing, his first couple of years in LA.
Yeah.
So it was, teams are kind of like, what's going on here? And now he gets another chance to bite the apple if he has a good year and opts out again next offseason. We'll see. But yeah.
That's a good. I'm glad you brought up the opt-outs. I am not interested at all in signing Montgomery to a contract like that. Like, if that opens up and he's like, yeah, I want opt-outs, I'm like, yeah, I'm all set. Because then it's like, oh, we're stuck with you if you suck. Like, we're not in a position to be. No, yeah, I do not under any circumstances want an opt-out laden deal. But yeah, I mean, how much fucking longer? I don't know. It's like, JD was the most was the thing I remember the most, like of a guy holding out, and he signed
He
today.
he would have been
February
signed by now.
26th.
6 years ago today.
6 years ago today, February
Oh, there you go.
26th. So yeah, I mean, like, it's sun's getting low here, boys. I don't know.
Let's talk about a guy like Matt Chapman.
Sun's coming up.
Like,
Like for the season, it's not sun's getting low. Sun's getting high.
Right.
Games are
Right.
here. The
You
Sox
can't
are
be hiding in the
3-1.
shadows. I think the funniest thing, and Jake, I've been with you on the whole like pump the brakes on Blake Snell thing. We've talked about this on the podcast before. Don't have to get into all of it again. The funniest possible situation, I think, objectively speaking, would be the Red Sox getting Blake Snell for a song. Multi-year deal, like that's actually really good value after months of us being like, no, absolutely not, no Blake Snell.
Yeah, like they give him like 4 years, like 18 a year. I'd be like, oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Four for
biggest
65.
Blake Snell fan
I
ever.
can
Yeah,
live with that.
Ah, shit, that's pretty good.
he gets like
Yeah,
Seth Lugo's contract.
No, I mean, yeah. Listen, I would take him if it's getting ugly for him out there. I mean, that's the other thing. We have no fucking idea where the market is. Like, we know that it's not what they imagined, because if it was what they imagined, they would have been signed by now. But we don't know specifics. Like, I can't even fathom what it's on the table for these guys at this
What
point.
was the report from the Yankees side of things? They gave Snell an offer, but it was like half of what he actually wanted.
Are you that far off?
I'll try to pull it up while we.
Yeah, and I tweeted something similar to this thought a couple days ago, but like, you know, am I pissed off the Red Sox haven't just ponied up and paid Montgomery? Yes, because we need him, frankly, but also the other end of that is like 29 other teams haven't done the same thing. So is he just asking like a preposterous number compared to what we don't really know, you know, but you think like maybe because it's March and he hasn't signed yet. But yeah, I'm stumped. I don't know. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Liam, what are you looking up over there? Guy in the chair.
Okay, so apparently, according to Nightingale, the Yankees offered Snell 5 years, 150 before they pivoted to Stroman. I don't think he's getting a better deal than that anywhere.
Jesus Christ!
Like, are you turning that down?
What is that? 30 a year? 3, 6, 9, 12? Yeah.
And this was February 18th.
What do you want? More
So-
years? I mean, you're not getting more than 30 a
At
year.
this point in the offseason, yeah, who's gonna go to like 32? Or 35, whatever number, right? Who's gonna do that?
Holy,
I don't-
okay. And then according to Heyman, on February 1st, the Yankees were apparently willing to go past the contract they gave for Rodon, which was 6 years, 162, and Snell's camp still said no.
Yeah, Scott might,
So what are we-
Scott
what are we-
might be
what are we
washed.
doing?
What's the math on
Scott might
162?
be washed here. Scott, I don't know, man.
I can't do
Scott's
math.
been spending too much time thinking up those fucking analogies and similes and shit.
Yeah,
that he,
with
that he
Bogarts,
shows up
when
to-
you sign
yeah.
Bogarts, you'll
So-
see that X marks the spot or whatever. Yeah, whatever the fuck you said.
Don't worry. As of February 9th, the Angels have not rolled out Snell. So, yeah, that'll definitely happen.
And
Scott-
Montgomery, I believe that was this morning. Which whatever. If Montgomery goes to the Angels, fuck him. I have no
Yeah,
respect
then at that point,
for anybody that signs with that
tells
team.
me everything I need to know about him.
Loser. That's a loser mentality over there.
He got his ring. He got his bag.
Yeah.
I'll see you never.
Via con Dios, right? I'm still laughing at the idea of Scott Boras being a Limerick merchant.
Who signed
He's
this
had it too
offseason
good for too long.
that was his? Was anybody that signed this offseason his? Like the big one? Any of the big fish?
Well, Bellinger outside, but besides that, he's not with Otani. I don't think he represented Yamamoto.
No, Yamamoto had that guy that he kept posting pictures of on the plane. It's not Boris.
Yeah,
Rich or something was his name. Yeah, I don't. Maybe he's I mean, he's old, right?
Scott Boras is just Robert Frost with a Fangraph subscription.
Scott Boras. He's 71. Maybe the game has gone by him. You know,
Game's gone.
who knows?
Emoji for the week. Paper writing thing like you're writing a poem, like you're Scott Boras.
Tyler O'Neill.
Scott Boras, poet laureate.
Take it over from Dick Flavin. May he rest in peace.
Oh, he's got JD as well. Yeah, this guy's fucked. I don't know what's going on over there over that Boris Corp. It's a disaster right now.
It also feels like they're just like they're turning offers. Like JD got an offer from the Giants and was
Yeah.
like,
Oh my God, he's Matt Chapman too.
Yeah,
It's
he's
not
like
a big
all of the
Scott.
guys
That's
that are
the-
left.
Scott, wrap it up. Wrap it up.
The wrap it up
Scott.
button.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
come
over.
on. Yeah, so is there a problem with baseball or like Scott Boras? I mean, these are all Scott Boras guys.
I think
everybody.
I think 1 is its own anomaly. 2 is a coincidence. 3 is a trend, and now we're at 4, maybe even
No, we're
5.
at 5.
if you count JD.
I was gonna
It's-
say, yeah, Bellinger.
This is a Scott
Yeah.
Boras issue. Because so many of those
Yeah.
guys are going to set the market for subsequent guys, you would think, right? You know, if there are any other like kind of mid-tier, lower-tier, usable free agents left, you'd have to think they're waiting for some of the other dominoes to fall. Or maybe not at this point. Maybe they're like, dude, just get me to a camp.
All right. Well, yeah, that's what can you say? I don't know. I mean, we've been saying we've done this show every week for 3 months now, being like, yeah, I guess.
Oh, spin zone on Boris. Hunchin
Oh.
Ryu is his client. He just
Oh,
got
yeah,
an
he
8-year
got-
deal
he-
at the age of 37.
Yeah, yeah. He cooked there.
for-
Sorry,
for
Scott.
17 billion.
Scott,
I
I
do
take
an
it back.
apology. I wasn't familiar with your recent game. What else do we
Yeah,
have?
I don't know what else.
What else do we have going on?
Yeah, anything else we want to talk about before we do song of the week and call the day?
New ketchup at Fenway. We're Heinz Ballpark now.
Oh, that's
Totally.
huge
So
for my
that's
beloved girlfriend
massive.
Sophie, who would bring Heinz ketchup into the park with her.
Oh, I don't
Really
think you're
big
allowed
day.
to do that at Fenway Park. I think
So
it's
maybe,
against
maybe the
rules.
food will actually be better this year.
I'll tell you what, that chicken sandwich up on the Truly Terrace, though, love it, love it.
We should do Fenway Park food reviews.
That's
to
when we
get
bring
our-
Johnny
to get our
on.
TikTok on. Yeah,
We've had Johnny in our back pocket for 2 years now.
yeah, he can
Yeah,
get
we
us the
could.
good
Yeah,
stuff.
we'll have Johnny just bring us the food. We won't pay for any of it. He'll just
He'll
sneak
wine
out the
and
back.
dine us.
He'll backdoor us the fucking chicken sandwiches and
Pot on Lansdowne,
Fries.
brought to you by Aramark.
Listen, I'll take that bag. That and the Rogers bag. And the Crypto.com bag that Jake got.
Jake's been
All
plugging.
3 of those. Please and thank you.
I've got my song of the week.
Jake, you want to lead us
Oh.
off then?
God.
Well, I've got 2. Let me. Okay, yeah, I got mine.
Let's hear it.
I'll tell you what. I didn't love her last album, but "Don't Forget Me" by Maggie Rogers. That's a special tune. That is a special tune.
Yeah, it's a good song.
And that's mine. I'm very excited for her upcoming album.
Yeah, when's that coming out?
I don't know. April, maybe. I'm
Something
gonna start
like that.
sucking my teeth more. Like, it's really good. What do they
Good
call
for
that?
audio
Like
experience.
a mental pause or whatever. Like when you make a note, like there's a word for that. Like when people speak and they don't know what to say next. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I'm doing it right now.
I know.
What it is.
Yeah, but I don't know.
There's a
There
word for
is a
like
word
the
for it. I
noise
know what you
people
mean.
make when they're not saying word, like in between
Like,
words. They're like but I think I'm gonna become a guy.
Frankly.
I like that. Frankly, yeah, I do it already half the time when I'm doing my fucking Trump voice. So why not?
Yeah. I told you first song of the week when we're doing the previews, I was going to do a song related to the team that we had just previewed with Toronto, their most famous song. Give me one of the cuts from What a Time to Be Alive. Give me Live from the Gutter, Drake and Future. That's a good song. Kick rocks.
Sorry.
What Drake song would you go with?
Which I wouldn't have gone with Drake. I'm not a
Do,
Drake
do
guy.
you need a one dance?
I would have gone with Biebs, Bugatti
Fitz
Biebs.
Fitz
Yeah.
and Garrett Cole, big Drake guys. They're really into Drake. These
Garrett Cole
days.
likes. I'm more I like Future more. There was more of
There
like
was-
I wanted to
yeah.
throw
There was a
the
clip
Future.
of
Drake.
him.
Loves his
There's
Drake.
There was a clip of him. It was either the All-Star game this past year or 2 years ago, and they asked him like, "What's on his like pregame playlist or something?" And he's like, been really into Drake recently. Really into Drake.
This little kid, this little underground artist. I don't know if you heard
this
of him.
indie artist.
Yeah,
Drake.
right. It reminds me of the clip, not this past Super Bowl that Mahomes won, but last year when he went on. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. He was like, "Yeah, the after party had DJ Khaled. It had the Chainsmokers." I don't know why that clip always fucking kills me.
It's just his voice, his stupid
Yeah.
voice.
Insane. Yeah, the
Him
James
and
Smokers and
Mahomes.
DJ Khaled was there. Yeah. Liam, song of the week.
I'm
No,
going-
you changed it up. You're going with a peppy now.
I
had
switched
the-
it up for the second half.
Oh,
of the show.
Liam,
I'll
what
go-
happened to the
Ginger ale
game?
now,
What
Peppy.
happened to the game I love? Where's
You did
where,
that?
where's the Liam
I got
I
one.
love?
I got one ginger ale left.
You're saving that for me. That's mine on the end of April. Put Jake on it.
Untouched.
Yeah.
I'm
Song of
going
the week.
heat on the street. Phil Collins. Been listening to a lot.
Ooh,
of
Phil
past
Collins.
week.
Phil Collins, I love your work, and by that, I mean your daughter, Lily, one of my all-time celeb crushes.
Yeah, she's easy on the eyes, I would say.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, he is, I believe, a deadbeat father to her. So
No.
Yeah.
that's
Speaking of
Emily
him-
in Paris.
Speaking of
That's
him
Emily in
beating
Paris.
things, he's a
Yeah.
fucking powerhouse on the drums. Phil Collins' music, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking rules.
Fitz, you're a music historian. What he watched a guy die? What's the whole thing?
That's the theory behind the song. I don't think it's based in reality.
I don't
think,
get it. I feel like what's the big deal watching a guy die? I'm sure a lot of people have seen people die. I don't
like
I don't know the
watching
whole
and
story.
like not having like not preventing it. You don't see why that.
Well, what do you? How long? What did he get? Shot,
Just
stabbed,
a
beat up? What
bystander?
happened? I don't know what happened.
Well,
Do you
one
know
of the
the
lyrics
story?
is "Well, I remember you were drowning" is one of the lyrics.
Well, what if Phil? Well, I don't know.
But again, I don't know. I think that maybe
Drowning
one of
could
those
be
like
quick.
urban legends sort of things. Background and recording. Let's try to inspiration. Collins wrote the song amid the grief he felt after divorcing his first wife, Andrea
Is that Lily's mom?
Bertorelli. I don't know, but in 1980,
out.
so I don't think so. Lily Collins was probably born late 80s, if I had to guess.
Yeah, maybe it is early
In a 2016
90s,
interview,
right?
Collins said of the song's lyrics, quote, "I wrote the lyrics spontaneously. I'm not quite sure what the song is about, but there's a lot of anger, a lot of despair, and a lot of frustration." In a 97 BBC Radio 2 documentary, Collins revealed that the divorce contributed to his 1979 hiatus from the band Genesis, until they regrouped in October of that year to record the album Duke, which is a good album. Collins,
I should have new song. Turn it on, Genesis. That's changing my answer.
you more of a
wow.
Peter Gabriel or a Phil Collins guy?
Nah, I'm still Phil. Still Phil.
Yeah, I would still say Phil Collins,
No,
although
still
you know
Phil.
Peter Gabriel is good too. Collins remembered playing the song to Mike Rutherford and Tony Banks, but he felt it was way too simple for the group, which is fair for Genesis. Banks, however, says he had never heard the composition. Yeah, I think the whole like drowning thing, like, ooh, he was there. It's you know what? On Wikipedia, urban legend. There you go. An urban legend has arisen about In the Air Tonight, according to which the lyrics are based on a drowning incident in which someone who was close enough to save the victim did not help them. That's what I'm talking about, Jake. You don't see why that would potentially. While Collins, who was too far away to help, looked on. Increasingly embellished variations on the legend emerged over time, with the stories often culminating in Collins singling out the guilty party while singing the song at a concert. Collins has denied all such stories. And he gave a
Isn't there
long
like an Eminem lyric where he talks about
Stan.
it?
You know
Oh,
that.
that's what
Remember
it,
that?
Yeah,
when he-
Phil Collins. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
when he drank the fifth of vodka and he dared me to drive. Remember that song, Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight? Where's Lucy Burge when you need her? She's the big Eminem fan. But yeah,
We should make our own urban legend, like Red Sox. Urban legend.
Let's think of one right now.
Let's
Let's think of one right
um,
now.
we should cut this because Jake's about to
for-
go off the fucking rails. I can tell.
got it.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
it.
You know
I got
what?
it.
I'll come back
got
next
it.
week with a list.
I was gonna say they took the Coke bottles down because they found Jake's hanging man inside one of them.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, or just bodies in the Coke
Yeah.
bottles in general.
They took
There,
the Coke
there was a
bottles
body
down.
inside the Green Monster.
Bruce Springsteen song about taking down the Coke bottle. They took down the Coke bottles in my hometown. They used to have...
Above the pike.
What happened to my city? They used to have Coke.
That's a good one, Liam. That's a good one, Liam. I really like that actually.
Yeah,
That's
that's
why they've
pretty
never
strong.
come back because Coke put a dead person in one.
It was
of
a
them.
legal liability. It was a lot of hush hush at that moment. You know? If you know, you know.
I like that. Yeah, let's roll with that. Let's start telling that to people at games and shit. See if we can spread it around. We'll
By
just
the end of- by the end of the
random
season,
people next to us. You know, remember those bottles up on the light tower and left?
We found somebody's foot in there.
No, 3 bodies. It was each in one bottle.
Three guys.
It was a family.
Three guys.
And
They started a Red Sox
yeah,
podcast.
the crazy part, they all worked for Whitey. This-
They all worked for
Three guys from
FSG.
Southie.
They all worked for FSG. They all tried to hand out multi-year contracts.
John Henry said you're going to be sleeping with the soda. That's what-
Sleeping with the Coke Zero.
All right.
Was there Coke Zero up there? Yeah, right.
It was Coke
Diet,
Zero
Coke
for a hot
Zero,
second.
and
Yeah.
Diet Coke, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Is that all we got, gents?
Think so.
yeah,
We got
fuck
Urban
it.
Legend,
Yeah,
so-
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's just call it there. Put a pin in it.
Yeah, yeah. Obey your mother.
For Jake, for Liam, for Spencer, I'm Fitz. You're you. Thank you, as always, for taking your time out of your week to shoot the shit with us about urban legends and baseball and urban legends about baseball. We will talk to you next week. Until then, go Sox. And like Jake said, obey your mother.
Obey your mother.
I think next week we'll come up with a cryptid. But yeah, obey your mother.
Well, Wally's almost there. I mean,